Hi, Panda here. The Nintendo Switch has loads of different puzzle games, so we're going to be checking out just a few of them. So I thought I'd tell you about 5 puzzle games I'd recommend for the Nintendo Switch. Let's check them out. So a puzzle game I got early on was Boost Beasts. Now I'd recommend Boost Beasts because it's a good, interesting, like match-free type game. So you can match-free, but if you get like combos of like 4 on a line, it causes more explosions. You can use special abilities where it does like a bomb, or like explodes certain ones, or explodes diagonally and vertically to clear the board. But later on there's some more puzzles where it's like, oh, there's some beasts stuck in a cage, and you've got to try and line up ones above and the top to unlock the cage and stuff. But the difference in this match-free game is that on the top you will see your animals, the beasts or something, going against zombies. Now zombies will be different colours, so if there's a bunch of like blue zombies, only the blue creatures, animals, can defeat the blue zombies. So you really got to try and like look at the board and see where you can get the most blue ones. Occasionally you'll get like a colour zombie, that means any colour can go against, so you can just like match as much as you want up, but you've really got to get those colours, because trust me, any other colour, character or animal that you line up, if you're going against a blue beast, isn't going to destroy it. There's 1 or 2 levels that can be quite tricky. You can kind of go back to old levels and like unlock your special abilities to use. I found you don't really need to do that too often. 1 or 2 puzzles are a little bit tricky, but I feel like you get through the puzzles at a good pace, and there seems to be a lot because I've still not quite finished it yet. So I'd highly recommend you get that. Another game I'd recommend puzzle-wise is Pokemon Cafe Mix. Now, this is only in handheld mode because you have to use your finger and touch the screen. Basically, you got to join up the same Pokemon, but this, instead of it being like lines or diagonal, is very free-flowing, like they were like liquid in a jar or something, that type of free flow. So you can move the Pokemon about, but there might be like certain like sugar cube blocks that you have to like get your Pokemon nearby. So if I swish around like 20 Pikachus, I've got to try and get near all these sugar cube blocks, and you can probably see in some of the gameplay how this is happening, and then that'll destroy that. There's other abilities like I think it's like a bell type item, or like a megaphone, and that'll blast like a few Pokemon to the side. So usually the quests will tell you like, oh, you need to get so many sugar cubes, or so many blocks covered in honey, or so many scores. So many scores, I mean a certain score of a certain type of Pokemon, or overall score. But you need to do it with swishing around. Now the difference in this game, it's free to play. Some people say that these type of games usually can't get too far without putting money in. I've got over 100 puzzles so far, and other members of the teams have got further. There's a few tricky puzzles, but we've not put a single penny into this game yet. So, but there is a few like cute extra Pokemon you can unlock, and as you progress through the game, you actually unlock things to decorate the cafe. Now, I've not seen anything where you can decorate per se, you can't put the things there, but it unlocks like, here's the milkshake maker or something, and your cafe gets bigger, you get more Pokemon, and you can choose different Pokemon to serve the other Pokemon. So it'll be like, oh, Psyduck's better at treats, or Pikachu's better at making cakes or something. So you can use those Pokemon and you can like befriend certain Pokemon, but in the store there is like, you want to buy Treats Pikachu for $3.99 or something like that. So that's a bit of a downside having that. It would be nice just to be like, hey Nintendo, here's £10, let me just play the game. But I've not really found it a hindrance, and they don't really shove the microtransactions in your face like some games that are constantly like, why don't you buy this pack now? And I've not had that issue. I think the music's good, it's kind of jolly. It'd be nice if the Pokemon said their names like they do in the anime, but you know, that's just one of the small downside. But it's very colourful, the puzzle's good, and it's interesting just having things swirl around. The downside, again, only in handheld, but it's kind of ideal if you're out on the train or something. It's a nice thing that passes the time, and it has a good Pokemon feel to it. So I'd highly recommend it. Plus it's free, so download it, give it a whirl, and see what you think. So, and remember, if you've played any of these puzzle games in this video, just let me know in the comments. Right, let's move on to the next puzzle game. Tetris 99, what can I say? This is amazing. It's so good. It's Tetris. If you've not played Tetris, go and check it out. Also, this is free to play as well. Obviously you can buy a premium pack with extra backgrounds and themes that have different music, but overall you can just play the basic online mode against 99 other people. So yes, it is a Tetris game crossed with a battle royale game. So you do a normal Tetris one, but other players of these 99 players there are, they could end up sending more pieces to you, but you can choose to send them to that. You can send it to the attackers, whoever's got the best score. But it has its Tetris gameplay perfection. Very addictive, and I know members of the team have really got really good at this and getting quite high. We're still trying to get a victory, because when you get down to the very end and there's only a few people left, it is fast and chaotic. But I feel like because it's so easy to jump back in, that you just keep playing it again. And you think it'd be repetitive, but there's something about the simplicity but complexness of Tetris that's amazing. And having it online with 99 other people just adds to it more competitiveness, but without being too competitive where you're like, well, if I suck, I don't want to play it. Like, it doesn't even matter if you have an off game. It's just like, well, I'm going to jump back in. And that's all really is to say about it. It's Tetris. You know what I mean? Anyone who has not played Tetris basically got falling blocks. When you complete a complete line and there's no gaps, that disappears. You've got to make sure it doesn't fill up your whole thing. So you want to try and be getting rid of lines. But sometimes you get a bit more complex, like, oh, I'm going to build up 5 lines. So you build up here, you've left a bit of a gap, get the classic vertical straight piece, put that in, whoosh, 5 pieces disappeared, landed on enemies screen. So really you can plan ahead. Like sometimes if you're a beginner, like you just want to clear lines, that's what I recommend. Just clear whatever lines you can. But if you get really good at it, then you're like, I'm going to build up a good chunk and send it over straight away then. And you can be strategic about like who you're sending it to. I usually personally just send it to who's attacking me. If someone's attacking me, I'm like, excuse me, you're having the pieces now. So, and it's really good. And they've been quite good, Nintendo, and hopefully they keep it up. Been having special weekend tournament events where you just kind of basically keep playing. If the higher you get rank, the more points you get to unlock a theme. But we've had stuff like Splatoon 2 themes, Pokemon themes, Kirby themes, and there's daily missions as well to unlock Tetris tickets, and that can get you more backgrounds. I'm currently saving up because I want to get the classic Game Boy Tetris look, and that's it. And you can pay maybe about £15, I believe it is. I'll put the price on the screen for the premium version, where you'll get like a bunch of themes for free, and you get to play like the offline mode, which is kind of handy if you're not near somewhere with Wi-Fi. So I think if you really like Tetris, I'd probably highly recommend you buy the premium bundle so you can play it offline. But if you're only going to play it online, obviously you can play this handheld and docked as well. Let's move on to our next puzzle game. Next we've got Snipper Clips, and this is actually something I've got on a case. This is the alternative sleeve, but obviously we have the inside sleeve as well. But yes, this is all the puzzle games on here available on the eShop, but also Snipper Clips is available on cartridge as well. Now I've got the Joy-Cons here because what the beauty of Snipper Clips puzzle game is that the characters are actually inspired by the Joy-Cons. So if I hold them this way around, you can see. Now I won't need to use these much now, but basically the Snipper Clip characters are Joy-Con shapes. Now you have to cut them out. So if we have a Joy-Con here and it cuts out like a section there, you can use it to scoop up like maybe a ball or make one of the characters sharper. So basically using a character's shape and body, overlay it on top of another character, click a button, snips that bit, and then you can do it. You'll probably see it in the gameplay a bit better, but I can make like a sharp bit to poke something, or make it like scoop the head of one of the characters to hold the ball, to throw it in, and you basically just got to solve a bunch of different puzzles. Some make you try and cut yourselves, so when you go together, it do a shape. Now you can play this in 1 player and 2 player. I recommend 2 players, but for all this gameplay footage here, that was all recorded just by myself in the 1 player mode. So I think if you think that looks fun, then 2 player mode just adds double the fun to it. So yeah, there's a various puzzles, different theme worlds. I've not finished it yet, but everything is good so far. And the other thing is that the puzzles really are like technically, if you know how to solve it, they're quite quick. But I feel like a lot of time you jumped into a different puzzle, you're like, okay, let's assess what's going on here. Have I got to help a hamster? Have I got to use a crane game or something? So you figure it out, then you've got to figure out what's the best way for me to use these two Joy-Con type shapes to cut another shape, to cut one of them into a particular shape to solve the puzzle. So some of them can take, you could sit there half an hour solving a puzzle, or some you could just do straight away and go, ah, yeah, that's easy, I'll just make a ramp and the hamster will roll up the ramp. They use, some mini games come up again, but it's like, oh, remember when you learned how to make a ramp for hamster? Now, what if this is like a trickier place you go get the hamster to? So they kind of like build on, but they mix it up. So one's like, here's basketball, then it's a helping the hamster, then it's the crane game, and then like 20 levels later, it's like, here's a hamster level again, but with a different layout. Or here's a basketball game, but with like the hoops in a different place. Or I've got to pop balloons. So yeah, I think that's really good. Definitely worth picking up. So like I said, it's on the eShop and on cartridge, and it was one of the early games that came out, so I feel like some people might have forgot, but it still holds up. So yes, let's move on to our last puzzle game. And the last puzzle game I'm going to recommend for this video, but we will probably do more videos because there's so many puzzle games on the Switch, is Puzzle Block or Puzzle Bloque, depends how you want to pronounce it. It's like block with an E at the end. So it doesn't actually ever say the name of the game, so I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced. So first up, this is one I bought earlier on, and I hadn't really heard about it. This was early on when I was like flicking through the eShop, looking for some games to get something that wasn't too expensive. Now basically, you're given like, it's like a square shape. Well, sometimes they're different shapes, but basic levels are square shape. You play as, I'm going to say a cat. It's very anime, this game. Very anime. And you can tell by some of the things on screen, it's anime. So if the anime-ness annoys you, don't get it, but I love anime, so it's fine by me. So you have this cat. Now the puzzles, you can move the cat and the puzzle. So the cat can move like left and right. It can jump up one block, but that's about it. Otherwise you rotate the levels, and then your cat will suddenly be like rotating it, like, oh, it'll suddenly fall down. So what you need to do, you need to turn it and get your cat to the door. Sometimes there might be other objects you've got to move around so you can like jump and reach the door, because sometimes you see a door just float in the middle level, like how am I going to get there? And they really kind of build on that later. There's like teleport and warp things. You're like, oh, I've got to warp through something. And they get quite tricky. Like I've got through maybe like 6 of the worlds, and now it's starting to get to the point where I'm like, I've got no idea how this puzzle solved. But I'm sure if you just sit down and figured it out, then it'd make more sense. But they build on it slowly though. You get basic level like, here's just the cat and the door, move around. And it's one of these puzzle games when you solve it like, man, I feel like a genius. And other times when you can't solve it, like, man, this is so difficult. But it's really a good one to get. But there's only one puzzle after another, and that's probably maybe the problem with some of these puzzle games anyway. You kind of get stuck. If you get stuck on a puzzle, there's no way to move forward. So I think that's a downside. I kind of like puzzle games where it's like, there's like at least a few different puzzles available, so you can always come back to it. Ideally, I'd be like, oh, there's an option of 5 puzzles here, and like if you solve some, it moves on to other puzzles, so you could always come back to one of them. But that's just a small criticism of some puzzle games to start with. But I'd recommend it. It's good, it's fun. I don't remember it being too expensive. Like I said, for these puzzle games, I'll put the details on the screen. Yeah, and if you can think of any other puzzle games I might have missed, but I will be covering some more in some episodes, or there's any that you've seen or recommend, let me know in the comments, or any I should check out, and hopefully I can check them out in a future video. So yeah, post your favorite puzzle games on the Switch below, and join us next time. And remember to click like and subscribe, and remember to stay safe and to keep solving puzzles. See you next time.